we're doing is this whitewash technique using the Good Morning Magnolia. So far all I've done was I've inked up with the Versamark ink, which is kind of a watermark ink. It does stay wet a little longer, which allows me to pour on the embossing powder and makes it stick. So I started out with the embossing buddy, stamped it with the Versamark ink, and then poured the powder over it with this paper underneath so that I could funnel it back into the container so I'm not wasting any of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat it with my heat tool. I'm using gold powder. I mean, you could use lots of different colors. I've done it in white, I've done it in black, silver, copper. Just depends on the look you're going for. I just felt that the gold went well with the crumb cake, and that's what Linda used, so that's what I did. Linda's a demo from overseas, and she had showed us this technique online in a demonstrator Facebook page. And I used to do this technique a long time ago, but it's one I just haven't done for a while, so I thought it would make a good topic for today's Facebook Live. Now what she did is she took just the ink pad and kind of squeezed it together and picked up a little bit of ink from inside the lid. That works really great with our old stamp pads. I'm finding the new ones don't have quite as much give, and since the white one comes with the refill, what I did was I just took the white refill, and this is a very thick ink, and so I put a couple drops of it in my little paint palette here, and I added some water to kind of thin it out a little bit. And then you did that with the aqua painter. And so then I was able to go ahead and pick some up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color just the flower. I'm not going to color the leaves. And I'm just kind of dragging the paint around, or the ink. Feels like painting since I'm using a paintbrush. And you don't have to worry about going over the embossed area because it's not going to stick to the embossing. It'll just rub right off of that. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't go into where the leaves are. And you may have noticed when I was heating up the embossing powder, I embossed from both sides. I did that because I didn't want the paper to warp. And by heating it on both sides, it diminishes the chances of things warping on me, because the reason it warps is it messes with the fibers on one side of the paper, but because the paper is so thick it doesn't reach to the back side. So if I go ahead and do to the back what I'm doing to the front, then that helps it from warping. This also works when you're watercoloring. If you're going to use watercolor paper, I always suggest putting just a tiny bit of water on the back of the paper before you start coloring on the front. This is a really fun technique. It looks like it's complicated, but it's not. It's very simple. I hope you guys give it a try. I've been trying to entice you guys to post on my page. I'd like to start giving away some free product to those that share some of their cards on my page. I've not been having much luck. Do you guys not like free product or what? Share some of your projects with me. I'd love to see them. It'll give me an idea of what you guys are into too, so I know what to work on next for another Facebook Live. Now this is still kind of wet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it with the heat tool again just to dry it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of our sponge daubers. That's fine that it's something I've done. I still want you guys to post it. It lets me know that I'm doing something useful, that I'm not sharing all this stuff for nothing. I want to know you guys are trying it. I think that's fun. I mean, and I got this one from another demo, so casing is all good. So now what I do is I'm getting, this is Petal Pink ink, and I'm starting at the center of the flower and then kind of flicking towards the edge. So that makes it start darker in the middle and go light as it works its way out. Now you may notice it's picking up some of the white on my sponge dauber, so I think I'll take these to the sink afterwards and clean them with some soap and water. I have little labels on mine that go into a little case I got on Amazon so that I don't have to worry about what color I've used on it last. I match them up. I've always got one in the color I need. So now that I've got that done, this is an oval from just our layering ovals. It's the scalloped one, and then this is from our stitched labels. So that's got a little stitching around the outside edge. What I'm gonna do is come in with some crumb cake, just because when I laid it against the the base, since it's all the same color, it didn't pop enough for me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crumb cake sponge dauber and I'm just kind of flicking from the edge. Now you'll notice I've got kind of an angle at it. The more of an angle you give, the more it's going to bleed into the center. So I'm trying to stay fairly close to the edges just because that's the look I'm going for. Just wanted to look kind of romantic. You know how they have kind of the burned edges on their paper sometimes? I think this is a very pretty romantic set that we're working with. And then I'm going to use the word thanks. I'm going to stamp this in Mossy Meadow, just because when I worked with this stamp set yesterday, I used Mossy Meadow to color the leaves and it worked very well. You can also use the back of your designer series paper. It always tells you what they recommend to use with the set and the colors that are used in their designer series paper, and that way you know everything coordinates. So I'm just going to put a little bit of my liquid glue on the back of this one and adhere it to my oval. And then I'm going to attach this to the card using some Stampin' Dimensionals. You'll notice my glue, I used the skinny end on it, and so I made this great little Tombow glue holder. And I posted it on my blog the other day. I've done it as a Facebook Live, but it was kind of on the end of the video. I did a video for the little boozy box, and then about 17 minutes into it, I said this is very similar to how we do the Tombow holder, and I did that at the end. So if you start watching the video and think you have the wrong one, you don't. Just fast forward and it starts at 17 minutes in. But I find that very helpful. So all I have left to do with this one is pop a few dimensionals on the back. Now if you are one of my regular customers, I know I keep saying until I'm blue in the face, you should be getting one of the catalogs in the mail soon. I have heard that some of the catalogs have started arriving, so if you start getting your catalog and it shows up in the mail, let me know, because I'm very anxious to see that they go out, you know, and arrive quickly. I did use the mailing selector through Stampin' Up! For these. They save us some postage that way. And like I said, you should be getting them now. So there's our finished card. See, quick, easy, simple, took me 15 minutes, and it's really pretty. So again, thank you to Linda for sharing her design. I appreciate it when you comment and like and share. I also do appreciate it when you recommend me to your friends. One of the best compliments you can give me is to share me with your friends. So what I've started is I have this Help Me Grow customer referral program, which is another way that I give away free product. If you recommend someone to me and they place an order or attend a class, then you get something for free for doing that. I will be back next Monday at 2:30, and I hope that you will join me again as we make another project together. Thanks for joining me. Bye.